Hello everyone, my name is Poonam Kambe. I am explaining about the CTA, which stands for Clinical Trial Agreement, managing the relationship between a study sponsor and an institution. A clinical trial agreement is a legally binding agreement that manages the relationship between the sponsor, that may be providing the study, drug or device, the financial support and or proprietary information, and the institution that may be providing data and or result, publication and input into further intellectual property. It is important to have a CTA for allocation of risk, responsibility, funds, obligation, and the protection of academics, legal, intellectual property, and integrity. A CTA should describe the acknowledge responsibilities, terms of collaboration, requirements for payment, reimbursement, then publication and intellectual property terms. After that, identification and or insurance, subject injury cover, then guidelines for dispute resolution, ground for termination of contract and possibility of amending contract terms in the future, the office of business and after that the investigator undertaking, which stands for IU. Then the investigator's understanding means the understanding to be given by the investigators to a club subject to an investigatory audit in the form set out in Schedule 9. Then the prior to the commencement of any investigatory audit, the salary cap manager shall write to the relevant club providing brief details of the suspected breach, which are to be the subject of investigatory audit, and procedure that investigators have entered into an investigator's undertaking prior to the clinical trial commencement. Then the additional document, including a clinical trial site initiation form, qualified investigator undertaking, and a research ethics board attestation must be completed for each clinical trial site. Schedule 9 clinical trial investigator undertaking to be drafted on headed note paper of investigators to interest details of club. You are pursuant to regulation of the 4.9 of the Premier Rugby Limited salary capping regulations. The regulation we have been appointed to audit the relevant records and hereby undertake to maintain the confidentiality of such records. Then the disclosure agreement for industry sponsored clinical trials. The sponsor or contract research organization, that is the CRO, typically requires Stanford or the PI to enter into non-disclosure agreement NDA before sharing the study protocol and other proprietary documents. The NDA protects the confidential nature of the trial details. An NDA also may be referred to as a confidential disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement. Stanford's policy allows researchers to sign NDAs their individual capacity. Please and other study team members do not have authority to sign on behalf of Stanford University. Research Management Group clinical trial contract officers have designated signature authority to negotiate and sign NDAs on behalf of Stanford University. The sponsors of CRO often provides its own NDA template. However, Stanford prefers to use the accelerated confidential disclosure agreement, which a team of academic medical centers, universities, and including developed to reduce Stanford industry sponsors and CROs developed to reduce time spent negotiating NDAs. Additionally, with some frequent clinical trial sponsors, Stanford uses pre-negotiated master NDAs to reduce negotiation time. protect Stanford interest and uphold Stanford's academic policies.